Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. On this channel we talk about all things fandom and we talk about them in a positive way. If that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place. We're so happy to have you. Today is Thursday and we have to talk about Scream 7, the gift that keeps on giving, because there's some new casting news and because Mason Gooding may have just revealed a lot of information about Stu Macher, or did he? We're going to break it all down, so let's jump right into it. Alright, so we have to talk a little bit about Scream 7 because there has been a casting announcement that I think is really cool, that I think should be brought to your attention. So we're going to be talking about that. And then also there is what Mason Gooding said in an interview about Stu Macher's return. And it's got everybody on the internet going crazy. Some people thinking it means one thing, some people thinking it means another. And the Stu Macher theories are running rampant, and we're going to tell you what was said and give you our thoughts on all of it. So let's jump into the first topic. We're going to talk about this whole Mason Gooding thing and what he said in this interview. Okay, so the article from Entertainment Weekly is Mason Gooding on Slasher Hard Eyes and Matthew Lillard's Scream 7 return. No one will be able to anticipate. So it says, between Scream and this month's slasher romantic comedy Hard Eyes, Mason Gooding has been stabbed on screen quite a bit. His favorite of those bloody times, however, is what he calls the Chad Meeks Martin special. It's the moment towards the end of Scream 6 where the two Ghostface killers get the jump on him and they stab him a bunch of times and then turn toward the camera as he falls, wiping the blood from their blades in unison. The dual Ghostface rib cage stab was really rad to film, he tells Entertainment Weekly, but nothing could be as defined as a career highlight as to see that kill done in Mortal Kombat. Gooding, 28, is a massive gamer and anime fan. He played the latest Mortal Kombat entry as Ghostface, which became a playable character last year. The actor, who's often chased by this mask-faced killer in the movies, and will be again in Scream 7, now filming in Atlanta, acknowledges the choice of play is very meta and funny. It wasn't until director Tyler Gillett, Gooding's director on 2020's Scream, which he loves to call 5 Cream, and its sequel, texted him about a particular brutality move that recreates his favorite stabbing scene. I am an incredibly competitive fighting game player, and I really like to assert my dominance by doing what's done to me. And he goes on to talk about this a bit, but we're not going to talk about this the whole time. There is a more important thing that he says. Later in the interview, he talks about Scream 7 and his return. Scream is now back on his docket, but he can't say too much about the 7th film in the franchise beyond what we already know. Kevin Williamson, a writer who helped to launch the franchise by working on the first 3, is now directing Scream 7. Neve Campbell is also returning after sitting out the last one. And now we are getting not one, but 2 past Ghostfaces. Matthew Lillard from 1996's Scream, and Scott Foley from 2000's Scream 3. Both are confirmed. In what capacity, we don't know, especially since both of their characters died in their respective films. Yeah, this is open to debate because a lot of people do not believe that Stu Macher died in that film and will go to their grave believing that he did not. And then you have the people who say, hey, maybe he didn't, but he never needs to return. You have the people that say, no, he needs to return, but he needs to return as a ghost. So already you have a bunch of people that are saying a bunch of different things. Gooding teases no one will be able to anticipate it. Lillard's been a huge part of my understanding and love for the medium for a very long time, Gooding says, pointing out his love for the live action Scooby Doo and horror flick 13 Ghosts, which, if you haven't seen that one, I highly recommend seeing that movie. It is absolutely amazing and well worth your time watching. It's not as good as the original, of course. The original, the black and white movie, is pretty great, but if you are looking at a remake, 13 Ghosts, the remake, holds up, and it is one of the best horror films of Matthew Lillard's career. When you consider his work in the context of the first Scream, you realize that that was actually just kind of him reining it in and being more grounded given the circumstances. To see where they're taking that and the understanding and dynamic in Scream 7 is far different than I imagine anyone will be able to anticipate, and they will absolutely deliver. He also praises Foley as incredible and calls Scream 3 a secret pleasure of his. I cannot wait for people to see what they're cooking, so to speak, with Matthew and Scott, he adds, because it's something special. Then he goes on to tell you who he's actually in the Scream film with, and that is cool in itself. I think that this is going to be a very interesting thing, and we're going to break into kind of that Stu Macher stuff in just a second. Let's jump into that next bit of news. Let's jump into this other casting news. All right, so according to Deadline, the Scream 7 cast continues to grow with the addition of Ethan Embry of First Man and Grace and Frankie, who will co-star alongside legacy cast members Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Scott Foley, Matthew Lillard, Mason Gooding, and Jasmine Savoy Brown, as well as previously announced newcomers Isabel May, Celeste O'Connor, Asa German, McKenna Grace, Sam Rechner, Anna Camp, and Joe McHale. But here's the really cool part. It goes on to say that Ethan Embry, who will next be seen in the independent films Alma and the Wolf and The Gymnast, and he recently starred in Damien Chazelle's Oscar-nominated First Man for Universal, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. His prior credits include Blind Spotting, Last Seen Alive, Can't Hardly Wait, Empire Records, and Sweet Home Alabama. Embry was a series regular on the Netflix series Frankie and Grace, which ran for 7 seasons. Additional small screen credits include ABC's Once Upon a Time, Showtime's Brotherhood, and AMC's Walking Dead. So we're going to jump back into Mason Gooding and what he said, because that is important, but we're going to continue for a moment with this Ethan Embry thing, because if you're unfamiliar with Ethan Embry, there are a few things that they mentioned in this article that I think were really telling and really great, and things that you should check out if you've never seen him in anything. Number one is Empire Records, in which he plays one of the people in the record store, one of the people that is working there, and he does such an amazing job in this movie. It is one of those movies that is very quotable, that is very cool, and is very reminiscent of your nice little let's save the company type of movies that they just don't make nowadays. There's also the fact that they talked about Once Upon a Time, and his character in Once Upon a Time was absolutely insane. He was one of the best characters on the show. And that's just my opinion, but the reason he was one of the best characters on the show is because he was very different from what we'd seen on the show, and his motives were different. His ideals were different. He can go from being the calm, nice guy to being absolutely insane and crazy the next moment. And I think that that's why he was cast. My theory on him is that he could be playing this guy that's in an insane asylum that sort of escapes, or something along those lines. Maybe he is in an insane asylum with one of the characters. He would definitely be that type of character that could pull that off, that type of actor that could pull that type of thing off. So this casting has me really excited, and I think it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to hear more about what the character is he's going to be playing. Okay, so let's jump back into this Mason Gooding thing, because this Mason Gooding thing is pretty insane, because actually, even though he don't say a lot, he actually may have given out too much information, because he ultimately tells us that we're not going to believe what they do with Stu Macher in this movie. Now, here's the thing about that. I think that when he says that Matthew Lillard is sort of reining it in, and that what he does in this movie is going to be so much more crazy and so much more insane, I think that is very plausible, because I think what we're going to see is Matthew Lillard as the mastermind, and or Matthew Lillard as an AI killer, because we do know, it's been rumored, it is one of the biggest rumors out there, that this is all about AI. And I kind of said that earlier on. I said I think that what they could do with AI in this and have this technology and everything would be really cool. And the sky's the limit for what they can do with this, deep fakes and all this stuff. They could have a ball with this in the Scream franchise, and bring back Matthew Lillard and a couple other different Scream ghost faces that are dead would be absolutely awesome to see. And we know that there's a couple that are coming back. So we know this, and we know kind of that, hey, there's probably a flashback, but in addition to the flashback, I don't think that he would be saying this if it was only for a flashback. I think this has got to be so much more than a flashback in order for him to be saying that Matthew Lillard took this up to another level entirely. Because when we look at Matthew Lillard's performance and other things, I can absolutely tell you that Matthew Lillard does have that ability to go from calm to completely crazy. And he's another one of those actors. That's why the addition of Ethan Embry into this cast excites me, because they're getting these actors who can do this, who can perform this way. And now we're seeing that maybe possibly this could explain why Matthew Lillard has a much larger role than what we're being told. And we're not really being told anything. But did he just reveal that maybe Matthew Lillard is the mastermind? Or is he revealing that Matthew Lillard's AI performance, that whatever they do with him to say that he is an AI killer in the movie, is going to blow our minds? Is that what he's talking about? Whatever he is talking about, it is really exciting news, and it has the internet running wild. It has all the Scream theory people spawning all these wild theories, yours truly included. And I have a couple theories on how Stu Macher could return, but I'll save those for later videos. Maybe we even find out whether or not he's alive before I do those videos. And that would be a game changer. But that is where I'm going to leave it off to you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say about all of this. Are you excited that Ethan Embry is going to be a part of this? What do you think about him as an actor? Have you seen him in things before? Have you not seen him in things before? If you have, let me know what you've seen him in. If I haven't seen it, I will definitely check it out. And if I have, then you and me can have a wonderful conversation in the comments about how great of an actor Ethan Embry actually is. And then also, friends, what do you think about Mason Gooding's comments? Do you think that this means that Stu Macher will come back in a larger role than we previously thought? Because a lot of people thought maybe it was just a flashback. Could it be more? I personally think we're looking at an AI situation here, and it could turn out to be really cool. But I want to know your thoughts. As always, we want to hear from you guys. Make sure you are leaving us that comment in the comment box below, letting us know what you think. Don't forget to share this video with all of your friends that are going to want to be part of this crazy conversation we're having. Make sure you're hitting that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. And then Miko says we need more subscribers, and look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.